Browne. Welcome to this week's MFB News. I hope you've all had a super duper week. You've been enjoying the kids being back at school and the freedom that brings. And I have a question for you. What happened to autumn? We seem to have gone straight from summer into winter and it's absolutely freezing. I do hear we're in for a bit of a warmer end to the week, but my word, it's got chilly really quick. Enough about the weather, which is obviously my favourite topic. We'll move on to my second favourite topic, which is mortgages, and what we're going to be discussing with you this week. So first up, latest update on interest rates. Some good news there for you, I think. So something to cheer you up a bit. We're then going to be talking about the renters' rights bill. In a fairly high level way, probably won't cheer you up quite so much. And then we're going to move on to predictions for the rest of this year and beyond. So lots of great stuff for you this week. Right, let's start with my beloved swap rates and what's been happening there, and some good news, not astonishingly good news, but good news nonetheless. So as of 11:15 on Tuesday evening, 2-year swaps were at 3.84, 1 month ago just over 4%, and 1 year ago 5.26. So actually things have come down month on month by sort of circa 0.2%, which is fantastic. 5-year swaps have come down to 3.49, so just under 3.5%, which is amazing actually, because we've been sort of sticking at 3.8, kind of 4%, that kind of level for a long time. So to get them down to under 3.5 is really fantastic. Comparatively, 1 month ago, 3.6, and 1 year ago 4.65. So things are certainly moving in the right direction. Now the changes in swap rates have only really happened in the last few days. We haven't seen so many changes in terms of lender pricing and lenders reacting to this. As we know, these things take a little bit of time, because when a lender reprices their mortgage offering or the mortgage set, it's not just a case of, oh, we're going to drop everything down by 0.2%, hit a button and off we go. It has to go through Treasury, through compliance, through marketing, all those kinds of things. So while lender systems are such that these days they can react quickly compared to the old days, actually it still takes a bit of time. But what we have seen is still a number of lenders reduce rates in the last week. So all is not lost. We've seen, first of all, the Market Harbourer bring down their pricing by up to 0.2%. Now the Market Harbourer, very, very specialist lender, very good at things like adverse credit, not huge amounts, but you know, they can do stuff that's a little bit racy, expats, that kind of thing, limited companies, individuals. They've got quite a healthy appetite, but so good to see their rates come down. They haven't repriced recently, so what I would say is their 0.2% reduction doesn't really bring them down to one of the lowest lenders on the market. It kind of just brings them back in line with everybody else. Now Fleet have been pretty punchy actually. They've brought rates down by up to 0.4% across their whole range. Fleet are a specialist lender, so individuals and limited companies, HMOs, multi-units, no maximum number of properties in the background. You guys know the drill, but they're really good to see them bringing their pricing down. Coventry are much more of a kind of vanilla building society. These guys have brought their rates down by up to 0.46%. Now, just to not let sort of lull you into a false sense of security here, these guys had brought their rates down and they sort of pushed them back up ever so slightly. So the reduction of 0.46, while it's very, very welcome, it doesn't make them the cheapest lender on the market. But what it does do is bring them back in line with everybody else. Leeds limited company rates down by 0.2. Zephyr Home Loans, another specialist lender, rates down by up to 0.15. And BM Solutions have also reduced their rates by up to 0.15%. BM are an interesting one. One of the largest buy-to-let lenders in the UK. So when they make rate reductions, you know, people are really going to take notice. Now I thought it'd be useful, because we've seen a bit of movement over the last few weeks, to kind of just do a quick roundup in terms of rates. And I'm going to do this slightly differently for you this week, because I think what the way we would kind of normally talk about rates is rates from X%, but actually some of the really low rates have massive arrangement fees. So what I'm going to do is kind of give you the rates from, but with a maximum arrangement fee of 5% of the loan amount. I think at that point people's eyes start watering, so 5% and above is just enough. So rates from, and then we're also going to do my favourite rate, or the rate that I think stands out. And the way I've got to this rate, incidentally, is I've literally just taken a £200,000 mortgage, and I've looked at the cost for a 2-year fix over 2 years, factoring in interest rate and arrangement fees and valuation fees and all that kind of malarkey. And for 5 years, it's interest over 5 years. And then what I've done is I've gone for the lowest rate, so the one which to me represents the best value based on a loan amount of £200,000. Okay, so let's give this a try and see how we go. Let us know if you like it. So 2-year fixed rates. So from 3.35% with a 5% fee, there are lower rates, but the arrangement fees are even higher. But the rate that really stood out for me was a 2-year fix, 4.3. So you can get pricing here from 4.3 with a 995 fee, free valuation, free legals on remortgages. 5-year fixed rates on personal borrowing, so rates from 3.66 with a 3% fee, but actually you can get pricing from 4.11 with a 1495 fee, and both of those options incidentally do come with free valuations. Now, limited companies, 2-year fixed rates are from 3.65 with a 5% fee, but actually the one which really caught my eye, or the one which represents best value, is that you can now get rates from 5.59 with a 1995 fee, so 2-year fixed on limited companies. And 5-year fixed rates, the rates are from 4.4 with a 5% fee, but actually the one which seems to sort of offer better value, as it were, 4.99 with a 1% fee. So there you go, that's kind of where things are at the moment. And as I said, and I've said this many times, what we're going through at the moment is an evolution, not a revolution. So things are going to take time, but actually at least we are definitely going very much in the right direction. Now, for those of you who are thinking about what's going to happen with interest rates going forwards, I know it's a really big dilemma for a lot of you in terms of, do I go for a 2-year fix, a 5-year fix? Is it going to be a tracker? We're going to come on to that in terms of predictions for interest rates in a short while. Okay, now it's time to buckle up, because rumour has it that the Renters' Rights Bill is set to be introduced to Parliament this week. Now, this is according to reports in The Guardian, where it's claiming that new protections for tenants whose landlords want to sell or move in, restrictions on bidding wars, but no plans to cap rent increases at inflation or wage growth. There's some good news there. I suppose if rents have been capped at inflation this time last year, wouldn't have minded so much, but not so much now. Ministers want to bring in a law to stop landlords and letting agents starting bidding wars by asking or encouraging renters to bid more than the listed rental price. It's also reported that they're expected to abolish Section 21 evictions, no great surprises there, and mandate longer notice periods as well. Now, all of this at the moment is just hearsay, so it's going to be a case of watch this space. In terms of those of you who are kind of really keen to be across the news on this, obviously do continue to watch our updates, and if you sign up to our newsletter, we kind of review these things and report on them every single week. But actually, another really useful thing to do, particularly if you are concerned about the changes coming in, is really consider joining a landlord association. And there's lots of landlord associations which are very regional, so you have one very local to you, but also there's a national landlord association as well, the NRLA. Now, the reason it's really important to consider joining these things, and we're not associated with them, we get nothing for doing this, but I genuinely think they're fantastic, is that first of all, they're going to be very much across the legislation. A lot of them have legal teams or legal people on hand that they can kind of seek advice from as well. But also, as importantly, these guys are really lobbying government. They are the voice of landlords. So when you guys get together, your voices are very strong because there's so many of you. So joining a landlord association means that you have the opportunity to have a say and to be able to go via the landlord associations to make sure that your opinion gets heard. The other thing you can do, incidentally, which I know that the iHouse Association are very, very keen on, is lobbying your local MP. So if you're sort of feeling that actually you're concerned about the changes coming in, and I think actually, the general consensus seems to be we're not opposed to changes coming in as long as they are fair and they don't totally disadvantage the landlord, okay? So I think actually, some of the kind of sensationalist headlines that we're reading, not every landlord shares that sentiment. I mean, there are some people that are very concerned, but actually a lot of people are like, you know what, things have to move on. We understand protecting tenants. We've got, we want tenants to be protected, but we also want landlords to be protected. There has to be a balance to this. So making sure that you've got a voice and that you're kind of sharing your opinions to the people that can actually make a difference is really important. So speak to your MP. Okay, now I think because we're all coming back after the summer, we're all sort of thinking about the future, trying to make decisions, trying to do some strategic planning. It's always useful to kind of get the thoughts of people who work in the industry, who are very, very educated and paid an inordinate amount of money to kind of make predictions. So what I've been doing is reading a report from one of the economic houses in the city, and they produce a really useful report, and what they've done is kind of just lay out their thoughts about what's going to happen. So rather than read the whole report, which is fairly verbose, I thought what I'd do is just give you the headline numbers, and I've picked out the numbers which I think are going to be important to you if you're thinking about making decisions. So first of all, Prediction is that by the end of this year, base rate will be at 4.75%. So essentially they're factoring in one more reduction by the end of this year. And at the end of 2025, base rate will be at 4%. So for those of you who are weighing up fixed rates versus trackers, it's probably worth keeping that in mind. I mean, this isn't set in stone, right? This is just a prediction, but these guys are pretty on the money when it comes to getting these things right. So, so one further base rate cut this year, and then 3 base rate cuts into next year. Now, unemployment rates, I think this is always an interesting one, just to kind of get a sense of where they think the economy is going. So by the end of this year, they expect unemployment to be at 4.2%, and at the end of 2025, 4.4%. So nothing kind of too dramatic, but they are expecting it to kind of sneak up ever so slightly. Wage growth at the end of 24 is going to be 5.4%. There's still going to be an increase in 2025, but it's going to slow down to 4.2%. CPI is going to be at 2.6% by the end of this year, and 2.6% at the end of 2025 as well. So essentially inflation is going to be keeping at a very sort of similar level. We're not expecting things to kind of go crazy, but it is slightly over the bank's target of obviously 2%. And the last one, which I thought was really interesting to share with you and probably very prevalent, is that house prices. So by the end of this year, house prices will have increased by 2.4%. At the end of 2025, 4.1%. They're really kind of penciling in the housing market to have recovered and be into growth mode in 2025. So I hope that kind of helps you with some kind of thoughts in terms of crystallising decisions. Sorry, I can't put my teeth in, I need more coffee, looking into next year. And that's everything for this week. The weeks are flying by, aren't they? So if you have any questions, you know, you can give us a call, 0345 345 6788. The way it works is you come through, you'll get through to one of our brokers who will then pick you up, and assuming they're the right broker with the right expertise for your requirements. So we split out the brokers into homeowner brokers, buy-to-let brokers and commercial. So we'll route you through to the right broker, and then you stick with them throughout the whole transaction, so you're not getting passed from pillar to post. And they're a really nice, knowledgeable bunch of guys in the office. So don't be afraid to reach out if you would like. And as always, there's loads of information on our website. Have a wonderful week. Keep warm. And hopefully let's hope we're in for some warmer temperatures and I won't be whinging again next week.